This guy's metabolism was in the absolute bin. Now we've managed to fix it. In this video, I'm going to speak to you about how to know if your metabolism is in the bin, why it ended up that way, and most importantly, what approach we take to fix it. So most importantly, you can go from looking like this to looking like this. It's not about the tactic and the six-pack, it's about what the six-pack is going to give you, so you can walk around this earth a confident ass motherfucker. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tom Sergi. I run the Gorilla Platoon, where we get results like this, and then we just speak about them online, so you can take it and apply it into your own life. So let's get straight to the chase. How to know if your metabolism is fucked. So you will set off on a deficit, you'll start cutting, you'll drop some calories, you'll see a little bit of a drop off. You'll go again, you see a little bit of a drop off, not as much. You'll keep pulling your food down and down and down, and it just won't respond. You're just not really dropping weight anymore, and you're thinking, I'm on like 1,800 calories as a grown human male. Why am I not dropping? You'll pull it even lower, like sub 1,600, and then your dick will stop working. And you'll keep thinking, oh, just pull, pull, pull. If your body is not responding to low calorie after if you've only been dieting a couple of weeks, I can tell you right now your metabolism is in the bin, because you should be able to drop. Now, most of you, the reason why it ended up that way, the very first reason, is because you just don't have that much muscle. That's honestly one of it's a factor of you don't have that much muscle, you've eaten garbage, which, as a hard rule of thumb, if it is more than one ingredient, pretty much it is garbage. If you walk into the supermarket, you will realize how much food in there is just utter garbage, man-made, random garbage. Unless you walk in and you see meat, eggs, berries, all kinds of fruit, vegetables, sweet potato, unless it's that, it was man-made, it's garbage. You keep eating garbage, there's calories in garbage, there's no nutrients. There's no micronutrients in it. And that's why if you just eat that, your body's fucking starved of nutrients. Whether you fill it full of calories or you fill it full of calories that are like no nutrients, it's the same. Your body's still starved of nutrients, but you just filled it full of garbage. That's how people get out of shape. That's how people put on too much body fat. That, simultaneously with training a little bit and fucking tickling weights, is the main reason you get your metabolism in the bin. That, and then the final thing is what I just spoke about at the start. You'll keep pulling your food low, 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 low. Boom, it's in the bin. You're on like 1,400 calories. You're not dropping. Your dick don't work, and you fucking hate your life, and you can't stick to it anyway. So you sack it, and you never end up like these guys here with a six-pack, or with like this guy here, where we've actually managed to reverse the damage done here, and we're marching on our merry, merry way to being crispy, crispy shredded. By the way, if you want me to do this for you, there will be the top link in the description. This will take you to my online physique transformation program known as the Gorilla Platoon, where we'll work inside and get the result for you. Anyway, back to the video. So we know that that's why it ended up that way. Abuse, lack of training, too much dead calories, or really low food, and your body just stopped responding. Because when you just take it into a space of really low food, it is in sheer survival mode. It's just thinking, when am I going to get my next meal? I better hold some of this adipose tissue. So, most importantly, what approach did we take to fix it? The very first thing you're going to do is you are not going to go in a massive calorie deficit, nor if one at all. You are going to sit at maintenance. For this guy, we sat just below maintenance. We ran that for 6 weeks. We focused on what? Movement and output. So we focused on his gym training to ensure he was getting stronger, to make sure there was a demand, a need for the calories. Most of you are trying to diet down, and you're just not training properly nor hard enough in the gym. You'll know if you're training hard enough because you won't be able to squeeze out the last rep. You'll know if you're training properly because you'll watch all my videos on how to train properly. All jokes aside, you'll lift controlled on the way down. You'll go through full range of motion. You'll track and record everything and know you're beating what you did last time, the time before, in order to get stronger. Most of you just aren't focusing on the gym. Your physiques are built in the gym. They're not built in the kitchen. That just assists whatever you're doing in the gym. The gym is where muscle is built. The need for muscle is why your body needs calories, is why your RMR, your resting metabolic rate calories, will end up coming up higher. It's very hard to get that number up But when you train properly, you're putting it in the best possible space to do so. So we focused on his training. We made him get stronger and stronger and stronger. We had him moving 10,000 steps a day, and we had him on 20 minutes of formal cardio. Again, moving. Now his body has a demand where he has energy expenditure through steps, through cardio, and through his gym training sessions. All of those create a need for calories. We didn't put him in low calorie. We put him at maintenance so his body could eat a good amount but burn a good amount. Notice how we're turning on the furnace. We're getting the furnace warmer and warmer and warmer. Now guess what started to happen? He would start to drop a little bit of weight because he was sat at maintenance but burning a fair amount of calories. So do you know what we did then? The opposite to what you think we did. We actually increased his food a little bit more until what would happen? It would line out on the scale and it wouldn't increase. Train, train, move, move, train, train, move, move. And then guess what happened? He would start to drop again. So guess what I did? I had another increase in calories. Each time in the form of carbohydrates, just to drive more energy for energy out. Carbohydrates, best fuel source for output and energy. So we drove more carbohydrates. Again, complex carbohydrates. So you're talking like your oats, your potatoes. You can do rice if it digests a little bit better, but they're the three I stick to. Now, we ran this for 12 weeks. The issue you're going to face over these 12 weeks is you're not going to look better. You're really not. You'll be stronger. You'll be fitter. You'll be able to eat more food, which overall is a net win. But we need to manage your psychology that you're not going to look better. You're going to need to keep your t-shirt on because you're not going to look better. I can tell you this right now, and this is probably the part of the video that you don't really want to hear, but let's be honest, you know you need to hear. Think of future you. You are looking after future you by you getting into this position now. You are priming your body so that the next time you go for a fat loss phase, it actually works. And you can not listen to this and try it your own way, but let's be honest, it didn't work the first time for you. It won't work the next time for you unless you take this model and this approach. There may be other approaches, but this is the one that we did and it worked. So you expect to not look better. You need to be ready from a mental standpoint for that, or you will quit. And when you quit, you'll be left with no result anyway. So for 12 weeks, you're going to keep doing this with the goal of keeping your scale weight average and stable. And when it dips, you can add a little bit more food. Over this course, we managed to take his calories up a good 400-500, I believe. So that's a good buffer. Because now guess what happens? After the 12 weeks, we go into a cut-in fat loss phase, where we've built the foundations of quality lifting, because I've watched all of his training clips. I've made sure he's lifted hard and made sure he's lifted correctly. He's been doing cardio the whole time, so he's much fitter. He's been doing steps the whole time. And of course, we've driven up his need for more calories up to a healthy amount. So guess what happens when we start to now change the levers, when we create more of a negative energy balance? We start to respond. We start to drop. We start to see the solid improvements. Not to make up numbers, but he's around 72 here, and he's around 58, 57 and a bit here. So there's a 12 kilo drop to get off. If we tried to drop 12 kilos straight from the off, it wouldn't work. I know this because I know this guy well, and he's tried it before in the past, and it didn't work. But it worked this time round when we took this approach. So you have two options when you then go into the fat loss phase. Now, what I would say is you worked so hard to get your body to need to consume that amount of calories. Don't pull from your food straight away. You're only doing 20 minutes of daily cardio. You're going to push that first to 30 minutes of daily cardio. Keep the furnace burning through output. Output is your saving grace. There's output and there's carbs. Carbs will drive performance. Output will burn calories. All while we sacredly keep your overall calorie target nice, or your overall input of food as high as possible. This is the method I like to take within the Gorilla Platoon. I don't starve my people, I just turn them into athletes, because that was the goal. You didn't just want to walk around with muscle, you wanted to be fit, you wanted to be agile, you wanted to be able to cut around with the kids. So that is why we turn you into athletes first, rather than turn you into starving Marvin. Now, at that point, you turn the dial of cardio, you start to see a drop off. Sweet. Keep that going until it starts to slow down, which it will. Your metabolism is very clever. It will adapt to whatever you put it on. Notice how in the beginning it adapted to more food needed. It will adapt to when you pull a change, it will level out at that point as well. The same way, when you took your calories from probably 2,000 to 1,700, it worked for a couple of weeks, but then it didn't. because the metabolism is clever, the body is clever, it'll adapt to whatever you put it on, but there is that buffer period in between where you're going to get a good bit of fat loss. So at that point, turn the dial again of cardio, go to 40 minutes of cardio daily. Now at that point, it's a fair amount of cardio. The goal was to be fit and an athlete, so let's not moan about it, but it's a fair amount of cardio. The only reason why I would next say you can look at food is because of the disruption to your routine. If any more than 40 minutes of daily cardio is an impact on your lifestyle, it may be smarter to then pull 200 calories down. First, I look at pulling at the fats first because I like to start with the fats nice and high at 20% of the overall calorie target, and then I'll chip away at that at a 200 calorie drop off each time I need to pull. I won't take them on low fat, I won't take them to zero fat because you still need a good healthy amount of fats. Unless it's like the last week of the transformation, in which case, again, you'll never be on 0% fat because it's impossible to get a 0% fat diet unless you literally just drank fucking water, which you're not going to do, obviously. So we'll keep turning down the screws of either cardio going up or food comes down until you get lean and get the six pack. Now, what I will say, think long term with this. This is an absolute, massive impact on your life. The confidence you're going to get from going and looking like this to this is massive. But you're not fucking finished yet. Because you'll get down to a good level, but you won't get down to your best possible level. Not in the first strike and try of doing this. So just get down to the point where you can see your abs, maybe even around 12% body fat. And then I want you to mellow out, reverse out from there, climb back up, sit at maintenance, and then sit into a slight surplus. Where again, in that phase, you spend a long time. We only did 12 weeks in the first phase where we were really just focusing on growing muscle, improving the metabolism. Now I want you to spend the best part of 6 months in a very steady improvement phase where you look to improve more muscle and obviously your body's need to consume calories. Because that phase there is going to be mission critical. You go to war in that phase. You do whatever it takes to get stronger session on session on session. And at the end of that phase, you're going to have the most amount of muscle you've ever had in your life. You're going to have climbed your calories up to a good amount. You're going to have accrued some body fat. Of course you are. If you start at 12%, over that period, you're going to end up back at about 18. That's okay. Because now you're going to go on another fat loss phase. And that fat loss phase there, with the fact that your food is now so high, you've got the most amount of muscle. When you go through that fat loss, watch how efficient you are at dropping body fat and watch how lean you can actually get. A lot of you need to just think in a bit more of a macro perspective for this. In 18 months, you can have your dream physique. If you try and chase it in 12, you'll just never even make any progress in the first place. So if you structure your phases right, like we do for these people, then you can achieve very, very good things. If you fuck around and if you try and quick fix your mindset to it, you just won't get the result. The main reason people don't look the way they want to look is not because of their tactics are wrong, their meal plans are wrong. It's because their mindset is so fucked towards it. They want it yesterday so they can take cute pictures on Instagram rather than being the guy of discipline, rather than being the guy of consistency, rather than being the guy of resilience that deserves the physique. That's why they don't get it, because they're not the guy that deserves it. You've got to become the athlete first, then you will look like one. If you try and look like an athlete without becoming an athlete, it just won't work. Through cause and effect of the universe, it will just not give you what you want. I can't stress this enough. This has worked time and time again with the results that we've got here. In fact, let me show you another prime example. This is a video we've got coming out very soon, actually, where we're going to speak about this result. This is a 10-month result. 10-month result, he's bigger and leaner. He's better in absolutely every way. And this was done over 3 phases. I won't steal the chips too much of the video, but if he didn't think long-term with this, which 10 months technically is not really that long, then he wouldn't have the physique he did. But obviously, so this is the point I'm making. What you can achieve in a more lengthy amount of time is a lot greater than you would have ever thought was possible. But what you want in a short period of time will always leave you disappointed. Frame your mindset to expect things throughout a longer period and you'll get results like this. If you want me to get results like this for you, there'll be a link in the description. Come join us inside the Gorilla Platoon. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you found the advice useful and I will see you tomorrow.